everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Review. How are you? Today we're talking about a show that I have been looking forward to watching for a very long time. We're talking about Netflix's Glass Heart, which came out on July 31st, so last week. This review is spoiler free, so if you haven't watched the show, don't worry about it, just follow me. Glass Heart is a 10-episode adaptation of Wakagi Miyo's novel of the same name, and the story follows the ups and downs of Ten Blanc, a young but brilliant pop rock band, as they rise to stardom. Led by multi-instrumentalist singer-songwriter Fujitani Naoki, played by Satoh Takeru, Ten Blanc has Takaoka Sho, played by Machida Keita on the guitar, Sakamoto Kazushi, played by Shison Jun on the keyboard, and Saijo Akane, played by Miyazaki Yu on the drums. A feat of Japanese visual storytelling, Glass Heart is an intense and passionate love letter to music. The universe of Glass Heart is defined by the sounds it creates, whether they be everyday noise or meaningful tunes or even the ticking clock of its protagonists' lives. Dialogue is kept in the background because it is through Ten Blanc's songs that our characters truly communicate. Takagi Masakatsu's incredible score serves as a melodic narrator, which frames the story that unfolds right before our eyes. The character's perception of sound is portrayed through montage and meaningful compositions. Even the editing and the camera movement have a rhythm that beats in sync with the emotions and the lives that we are following. So music lies at the very core of Glass Heart and makes up its very foundation. That's why the show shines the brightest during its musical sequences, because these songs are the characters. Their arcs are not portrayed narratively but musically. Ten Blanc's songs change throughout the show, going from a more individual to a more communal experience, while also becoming ever more heartfelt, ever more sincere. This happens because music is the means through which these characters interpret the world around them. It is the means through which these characters express themselves and grow. Naoki, Sho, Kazushi, and Akane, and I would also add Sudamasaki's Shinzaki Toya here too, come together as four completely different individuals who needed to discover their own sounds in order to unite them into a rhythm that represents them as a group. They are four broken souls who have been exploited and rejected, but most importantly, misunderstood. And it's through their music that they can explore who they are and who they want to become, finally being able to say what they really want to say. But beyond serving as a means of expression, music is also a vessel for connection. We respond to music almost instinctively, and we find in it the company and the comfort and the understanding we seek. The members of Ten Blanc create music that allows them to connect with each other, with their family and friends, and eventually with their fans. Their sounds reach out to the people around them, echoing through their relationships and creating sincere links of companionship, support, and compassion. As our four protagonists come together to create something bigger than any of them individually, they realize that music is a unique tool for self-expression and self-discovery, a means of bringing people together, and a conduit for emotion. That's what they are chasing. That's what ties us to their story. That's what Glass Heart is truly about. Everything else is just narrative fluff, to be honest. Glass Heart then finds its identity in its profound emotional depth, in its astonishing score and soundtrack, and its superb artistic direction. Music and visuals are so tightly intertwined that it's impossible to separate them. While the visual effects can be a bit grating at times, directors Kakimoto and Goto offer a mesmerizing piece of work. Their compositions, lighting, and color schemes are gorgeous and incredibly effective. But Thème Blanc wouldn't exist without the marvelous work of its performers either. Netflix also announced that the actors dedicated over a year to learning instruments, singing, and even making their actual debut as a band, and you can feel that dedication. The characters' music making process is conveyed through pure energy and passion that radiates constantly and naturally throughout. This is a series charged with emotion, melody, and appeal, and that's also thanks to its vibrant and perfectly delivered musical sequences. Satoh, who also produced the series, clearly gave his heart and soul to Naoki. His intonation, gaze, intensity are unlike anything he's ever done. And here we're talking about a guy who made 5 Rurouni Kenshin films. But while he's a very, very powerful lead, we need to highlight Shison's irresistible charm as a second male lead. He's absolutely spellbinding in Glass Heart as Sakamoto, and he definitely gives Satoh a run for his money here. I just fell in love with Sakamoto. It's impossible not to be honest. Following Light of My Lion, Miyazaki continues to show that she's an unstoppable force of nature. Her performance in Glass Heart is just beautiful to watch. It's just so full of detail. Meanwhile, Machida offers this incredible mix of maturity and sensibility and enthusiasm, and all together they develop this undeniable synergy, and they manage to convey their characters' complexities with such prowess. And I think here we needed to add as well the one and only Suda Masaki, who once again molds a very complicated character through a profoundly nuanced performance. And to see Suda and Satoh working together, performing together, it's just incredible how, their chemistry, how they responded to each other. It's just, I think the 5 of them, they make up the heart of the show, and it's just amazing. They are amazing together, really. Glass Heart is an electrifying, enchanting tale thanks to its devotion to music and its genuine theme. The story has an unmistakable thematic core, which is developed and delivered successfully. I think it is this message that creates a bridge with the audience and allows us to feel immersed in its universe. However, Glass Heart does have one off-pitch element. The story doesn't have a narrative objective. That is, the plot lacks structure and intent. So when it comes to the narrative, the series introduces a series of completely diverse and often random conflicts that fail to receive any proper resolution. Separate storylines are introduced, they are suddenly and somehow resolved, and then they disappear without relating to one another or leading to a common goal. Melodramatic exchanges exist for the sake of melodrama, and supporting characters exist only to facilitate these exchanges. Unfortunately, secondary roles, especially foil characters and antagonists, are given awfully shallow characterization and cliché lines that don't really add anything of substance to the story. So despite its mesmerizing artistic direction, Glass Heart gets lost in a narrative composed of disjointed conflicts that quickly receive unnatural or miraculous solutions, and seems to waste precious time on supporting characters that feel like irrelevant caricatures. So I think the problem with the narrative of Glass Heart is that they wanted to do a lot without really developing any of it. So they decided to just throw a bunch of dramatic conflicts into the story without carefully developing any of them. So I think that was the problem. Maybe they wanted to do too much. They should have focused on less, maybe. Less is more. So the final question is, should you watch Glass Heart? While Glass Heart isn't perfect, it is definitely a story that deserves to be told and carefully listened to. Glass hearts might be the ones that Naoki believes to have broken throughout his career, but in this Netflix adaptation, they stand more for these fragile souls who become transparent through their music. As the members of Ten Blank use their music to discover who they are and to express their innermost emotions to the world, they embrace their vulnerability, offering their own glass hearts to the people that surround them. Like glass, they eventually let the light pass through. Like glass, they're strong yet brittle. In the end, aren't we all a bit like that? That's why I think their quest towards more vulnerable, more sincere, and more self-aware selves resonates as loud as the music they play. Thanks to its sublime, unforgettable musical sequences, its talented and charismatic cast, and its heartfelt dedication to its theme, Glass Heart succeeds despite its narrative flaws. If you love music and its power to connect us all, be sure that Ten Blanc will guide you through a moving, captivating, and dynamic exploration of sound, heart, and self-expression. Glass Heart is on Netflix. Guys, quick reminder that this review is also on the Blossom Review. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. And over on Substack this week, we reviewed a Japanese film called Super Happy Forever. I'll also leave a link in the description if you guys want to give it a read. Guys, thank you so very much for being here. I really hope you leave a comment with your own thoughts and ideas on Glass Heart. And I hope you like this video and you subscribe so I can see you here every week for a new review. Have a lovely day today. Take very good care of yourself and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.